Hey everybody, David here, and today I'm going to be talking about my least favorite to favorite Harry Potter movies. I enjoy the Harry Potter movies, and with Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them coming out this week, which I am going to review, I thought it would be a good time to talk about my least favorite to favorites, because I do not hate any of the Harry Potter movies, but unfortunately, one is going to be my least favorite, and I don't want to call it the worst one because I feel like worst is a bad way of calling a pretty good film. So here we go. We are going to talk about this. At number 8, I have Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. This movie doesn't quite live up to what it used to be. When I was younger, I remember it a little bit more entertaining. But now when I do go back to it, it is actually one of my least favorites. Unfortunately, it drags a lot here and there throughout the film, but there are still some good moments. I'm not going to take that away. Obviously, the Quidditch stuff is always cool to watch, especially since I think this is the one where Draco gets into to the Quidditch game. There's also some we learn about Harry's ability to speak snake, so that's pretty creepy. And as well as the giant snake at the very end there with the final battle with Voldemort, or Tom Riddle. I guess it's the same guy, right? So it doesn't really matter. But yeah, so unfortunately it is my least favorite because when you do look back at it, I feel it doesn't hold up as well as it used to. At number 7, I have Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Just like the Chamber of Secrets, I feel that this one is kind of outdated. I feel like it kind of drags nowadays when I go back and check it out. It feels like, not much really well, a lot is happening, but it happens really slowly and takes its time telling the story. And it didn't need to be 2 hours and a half to do that. But with that being said, there's still enjoyable moments leading up to the end of the film, and I will say, if you are not familiar with Harry Potter, this is a good movie to kind of ease yourself into it, learn about it, and I think that's what this movie does the most. It's more of teaching us what this world is and how it works. But once you see it and once you understand it, and once the films progress the story even more and learn new things, you start to go back on this one and feel like, yeah, we get all this already. Think of it like a tutorial that you've watched and taught you well, and then you don't need to see it anymore. At number 6, I have Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. You know what? There was a time where I did think this was my least favorite Harry Potter film because it does drag a little bit, I'm going to admit. Mostly in the middle, though, but I see, when I do go back to it, I do see how important a lot of scenes are and how they play out later in part 2. So that is actually why I raised it up a bit, because part 2 actually makes part 1 a little bit more enjoyable, in my opinion, because you see how everything comes to a close. After all, the last 2 movies are based off the same book. So you're reading the first half of the book, and then the second movie is the second half of the book, which gives closure to the story. So that's why I give Deathly Hallows a little bit higher, because you do need to watch the second one to appreciate this one a little bit more. At number 5, I have Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. One of my favorite rivalries throughout these films is the rivalry between Draco Malfoy and Harry Potter. Draco Malfoy, who, funny enough, the actor Tom Felton is on The Flash right now. If you check out my Flash reviews, you know what I'm talking about. There was this little rivalry that went back and forth between them from time to time, and especially in the first 2 movies. And when this movie came out, they were really heavily promoting Draco Malfoy. So I thought, oh man, this is going to be it. This is going to be the movie where Harry and Draco finally duke it out. And there is a really good scene where they do have this little, fight. But I feel this movie really dragged a lot at times. Some of the jokes also were kind of something that I think a lot of Harry Potter movies were really good at, were some of the humor throughout, sprinkled here and there. But I felt this one, some of the jokes didn't really hit as good as I was hoping. And I felt Draco was too much of a wimp, and I get that maybe he was the entire time, but I was hoping for a little bit more. At number 4, I have Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I understand now why this movie is so good. There was a time where I thought this was my least favorite Harry Potter movie of all time. My list has complained as the year. I mean, my list has changed as the years have gone by. And you know what? At the time, I thought this was overrated. I didn't understand the love it was getting, but now I do. And Gary Oldman, I love Gary Oldman in anything he's in. And he definitely elevates this film a lot. The actor who plays Professor Lupin, I also love him as an actor. I remember seeing him in Dragonheart back in 1996. He played the villain in that movie. The Harry Potter movies are great with their casts. And it's understandably once you see how good the stories are in each of these films. And this movie definitely is a very enjoyable one. I really enjoy it. And obviously time travel. If you've been watching a lot of my videos, you know I love time travel. And when it's done right, it's a lot of fun. And this movie does it well. At number 3, I have Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. I really love this movie. And I remember talking to a friend of mine who was a huge fan of books and saying that this was their least favorite film. I don't know how many fans of the books think this is their least favorite. But I do know the book is the longest book of all of them. But for me, I actually thought it was a cool film. Okay, so it didn't really progress anything in the story other than bringing Voldemort back to life at the very end there. But I did think it was a really dark, creepy, cool film, man. I really enjoyed the games that Harry was forced into playing. The villains were really cool. This was a great introduction into Voldemort, or his reintroduction, since we did see him in the first 2 films. But this was this was a great comeback for that character. And the guy from Twilight, Robert Pattinson. It's the only movie I actually enjoyed that he did. At number 2, I have Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. I love this movie. Once again, Gary Oldman returns in this one, so it's really great to have Gary Oldman in a Harry Potter film, or in any film in general. I just like what the Order of the Phoenix is about, and how it is built up, and how shit is going down. And one of the villains that I hate the most in this franchise, I hate her in a good way. She's that Mrs. Dolores or something, whatever her name is. Umbridge Dolores, I think her name is. The one with the cat pictures on the wall, and she's always in pink. And she has that annoying freaking voice, and you just want to bitch slap her because you just love to hate her. I'm telling you now, man. And so that's one of the reasons why I love this movie. I think there's a lot going for it that I really enjoyed. And obviously the humor is really nice. There's a little romance with Harry and I forgot the girl's name, but she was Asian. And Harry and Ron, I don't think they hook up in this one, but the flirtation is really getting stronger for them in this one. I love Order of the Phoenix. I think this is a great film. And even the ending, when Harry and his friends finally go out and kick some ass, that's really cool too. Finally, at number 1, I have Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. This is the best Harry Potter film of all time. And it took 8 movies to get to it, or 7 movies to get to it, because this is the 8th film, which closed the franchise. And it was the most satisfying ending you can get from a franchise to date. I think it was brilliant. I think they tied up everything. They gave us all the remaining questions we needed to know. They closed a lot of great story arcs. They gave us a great epilogue at the very end. I mean, there's no way you could have ended this franchise better than this movie. And I hear it's a little bit different with the books. I hear the books start off really good, and then they have a little bit of a decline. Where the movies, I feel, the first 2, especially looking back at it, the first 2 were, they're okay. But it's starting from the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6 and 7 are a little wonky, but 8th are all great in my opinion. And this is definitely one of the greatest franchises out there right now, and I'm glad we're returning to this world with, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, because it's going to be great to hear those spells again, and maybe to learn some new ones. Who knows? I'm really excited into learning about all of this and getting back into this game. The trailers have looked really good, and I can't wait for it. So this Friday, hope you guys check it out. Also, I will be doing a review. That is my list. I hope you guys liked it, so press that like button. And if you didn't, well, there's no way to please you then. And I will say, check me out on Twitter and Facebook, and comment below and tell me what your Harry Potter list is, from best to worst or worst to best, whatever. Everybody has different opinions, and I always like seeing other people's opinions and comparing them with my own. So until next time, guys, take care.